Hello everyone, welcome back to the day 5 for the AnyAUT certified tester training. Let's take a quick look at what all have we covered, team, since the beginning. Just a quick recap. So primarily we started with manual testing, right? We did writing of tests in Excel. Then we look at Selenium IDE, Catalan, how we can do record and playback. Right, team? So this is a recap of what we were doing. And then we were talking about element identification. In between, I had you go through basics of HTML and also all about automation frameworks. Now, what is still primarily pending for us is things of element identification from an XPath point of view we have to look at. All right. I think someone joined from organizer side. Okay, I don't know who joined. And what we really have to still do, team, there's a lot that we need to focus on. Element identification from XPath. Writing our own custom programs on Selenium IDE. Then we get into AnyAUT Web Orange. How to get started. All right. So out of these three are primarily where we are right now at team. Okay, we still have to complete these three to large extent, and believe in one aspect that these topics will become more and more clearer to you and stronger as a concept as you keep working on them. So element identification is not like a topic that we will finish it very quickly. It'll take its own period of time. You have to have the experience of maybe working with 100 200 elements that will give you, okay, I know how it works now. So we're going to get into that, team. We're going to work a lot on to AnyAUT Orange. Now, once this is done, we will go straight into Eclipse IDE, Selenium WebDriver, basic Selenium WebDriver codes for execution on Chrome, IE, Firefox, Edge, and how we do it. This is also install AnyAUT engine and execute tests. And then we have to go through building each automation frameworks from ground up. And through this process, we will also learn a lot of core Java. What is JUnit, TestNG? How do we apply a little bit of CI/CD? Okay, be it Mavens, Jenkins, Git, okay, GitHub. How to use tools like Trello, Jira. We can take two quick looks, team. A look as very simple tool, but also how it is used more in the practical world. So we can go through some of these. Selenium training. So this is what we will go through in the Selenium training coming forward. All right. I'm sure there'll be a couple of things here and there getting missed out, but predominantly that is what it will be there, team. And Pavan, Sunil, you're there, right? I was telling also the same thing yesterday. I don't know why it's not getting implemented. The videos of all these sessions that we've done live, along with the videos that the audience have watched in between, with the links have to be neatly provided. I'm depending on you to do that by end of today. Okay. Now, from a schedule point of view, team, I'll require at least another 2-3 days with these and then with Selenium training. We have a new batch of Selenium training starting anyway next week. This will coincide to it, okay? Free ACT training will merge onto Selenium live training, okay? So it's the same audience and new members who are waiting just to get through the advanced training and skip a little bit of manual, they'll be waiting for this. Yes, I'm recording. Okay, now let's talk about element identification very quickly, XPath team. Let's complete this, and this will give us a lot of confidence on where we are and how we do it. Okay, how do we do XPath? Okay, and yesterday's session, was this the one? Ah, okay. All right. So remember, team, I was talking yesterday that any element that you see, let us say we go to, oh, sorry, 1 second. The main thing that we do on any application team once we access it is to be able to inspect the elements so we can identify them. All right. So to identify them, I'll need to write a specific thing that is used to identify. The main properties team that we all look at are provided within the HTML code. So when we right click on an element and say inspect, it is showing us that HTML code belonging to this element. Now, how do we convert this into identification? The various ways of identifying are if you have attributes like ID or name that are unique, we use it. If there is a class, CSS or link text that is coming, we can use that. Or we can write it more like an XPath where it is programmatically looking. What do I mean by that? In this case, the format of XPath is very simple, team. Yesterday, remember, we went through this. Every HTML tag starts with a less than symbol, and at the end HTML tag, it has the greater than symbol at the end. Now, attributes are the main ones. These are the ones which carry information about the element. And the way it will be is this format: attribute name equals attribute value. So anything that you do, for example, this field, here is my HTML tag. Here are all the attributes and the corresponding value. If I take anything as a unique combination, and then I could implement it. How do we write an XPath now, team? Let me delete these. And talk about writing an XPath. The first thing we do is XPath format slash syntax. It, it requires you to use an exact way in a precise thing, team. It starts with 2 slashes, then it has the HTML tag. Then you have a open square brackets at the rate attribute name equals quote attribute value end of square brackets. Now, team, this is the most important thing that I want you to talk about. All right. How do we write XPath? Now, for this element, what will the XPath be? First and foremost thing, use 2 forward slashes. That is saying that my XPath is starting. This is your beginning of your XPath. Okay. And then next comes the HTML tag. All right. In our case, what is HTML tag, team? It is input, the word right next to the less than symbol. So I replace that here. And then comes open square brackets at the rate attribute name. We can take any attribute name and give it a value. What can that attribute name be? I can use ID or name or type or placeholder or class. Whatever is unique. Attribute value is password. Okay, I'm taking the value as is. And I just use again end of square brackets and my XPath is basically done. Now I put them all together as one flow and I say input open square brackets at the rate ID equals single quotes password. And this should identify my element. So the same details that we were giving is now put into this structured manner, team. You will know the advantages of this as we go a little forward, and I'll walk you through it. So here is my application per se. I'm going to quickly, where is my Selenium ID? Won't be there here. In private browser, I don't think it is there. Just going to delete this. It's showing constant demos. So team, now we're still at the username. Oh, password is it or the other one? Any element that I take, let's do it for username. I do an inspect. I have the entire HTML code for it. So I right click on it and I copy the outer HTML right now, bring it into a notepad or wherever you're working on and write the XPath for it. The same here, what would the XPath be, team? I'm going to put, I want the exact answers coming from the audience in the chat. Even a small comma, uppercase, lowercase missing will change everything, team. Can you write the XPath for this specific element? Okay. What I can do then is keep my application here. There's my ID and ID on the other side. And let's say I do a new test. And here, the one that I copied earlier for password, I'm going to copy it, team. But see the format that we have for single quote and so on, team, sometimes can be tricky. What you need to do is ensure you copy it into notepad and just change these single quotes. They'll come as different formats altogether otherwise. Now for any specific target, let's put that value and try and find what it doesn't want to do anything. Why is it acting so weird, team? These steps are okay. Let's see, type. Now find target in the page. Hello, I'm here. Why are you going there? Atrocious. Oh, brilliant. This guy is just not cooperating. I'm trying to find if it's working or not. So first of all, let me go //www.AnyAUT.com/ that's it. Let's see. Now it goes here. Login. And here is where, see the same field, ID is username, which can be found in the target. I'm going to now copy it with our XPath that we wrote. and try the same. Now your big task, team, is to try writing XPaths for different elements. Okay, so my password can get identified this way. What was it for the first name? I just have to change a few things there. Right click, inspect. I have ID is username. So in IDE Selenium, if I go and say this is username, now it is pointing to that specific field. This way, we are able to identify a specific element, team. I have got a lot of responses, and see there are mistakes in these responses, and you can easily figure them out. I'm just going to put down these, team, and you'll understand what I mean to say. Now, here are some of the responses that I got for the simple one that I've asked. Tell me, are these correct? And what are the mistakes you're doing? And then will it work if we do it this way? All right. That is so critical, team. I'm just seeing, for example, this. The most important thing, team, is your own eyes, please. Why should I waste? Look at it this way, okay? Why should I waste my time in correcting mistakes that you make, which you can fix it at your end? I'm not talking from a training perspective, projects, when you go into it. Such fundamental stupid mistakes will tend to make, team, that will make us not be able to execute things correctly. And then we have an issue as to why things are not running. Now, for example, look at this. What is wrong with this, team? A single quote is missing here. How did you make that mistake, team? I agree it happens, but it's got to hit you very hard. If you continue to make such simple mistakes, you will never be able to do automation. There is no point in learning Java and frameworks, team. Believe on it. If you cannot do these, then it will be an issue. Look at the other one. There is no square brackets at all. Why you? And how about this out here, the spaces, right? These mistakes you cannot do, team. So be careful on that. Now, tell me what will be the XPath for, let's go to join us, any of these elements, team, in this page. What will be the XPaths for any of these? Write down, please. Let us say I'm doing it for email or last name. Try for email, please. Let me know what will be. All right, I'm back. So any of these elements, team, do it in a systematic manner. Now, while you're doing, I'm going to do the same thing. Right click on the email, go to inspect, copy the outer HTML, put it into a notepad. First thing, use 2 slashes, write the HTML tag input, open square brackets, use @ symbol. Can I try using placeholder? Sure, why not? Maybe it will work, maybe it won't. Our job is to keep trying so that we are able to identify these elements. Once you can identify these elements, team, you can do anything on them. If you cannot identify the elements, there's nothing we can do on it. That is a simple logic. Simple logic. So with saying that the attribute name called placeholder and the value is as is, if I can find it, then that is great. So I put it into Selenium IDE and I did a quick check to see if it is visible, and it is, and that's good for us. Now, same way, you can go about doing it for all these steps, team, exactly as to what it could be. Let's look at password, inspect, copy outer HTML, paste that code, start typing input @ at ID equals single quotes password. Oops. Okay, now I put that back into IDE. I want my windows to be like this. I put it back into IDE and I try and find it. So is it able to find team? Or no, it could not find it. There could be some other issue, and that is something we have to look at. Observe and tell me what could be wrong with this. This is my HTML tag. What is the issue with my XPath? Yep, I accidentally manually used a curl bracket instead of a square one. And those simple mistakes will not let you identify. You getting what I'm saying? If you're sitting at home and saying Selenium is not working for me, it is because you don't know how to identify the elements. It is your problem. We have to get good at this, team. All right, hundreds and thousands of element identifications. If they're complex, duplicate, what will happen if they're 3, 4, no attributes? They're dynamic, they're changing, they're coming in different windows and frames. Don't worry about them. First get the basics, then we can look at the other part of it. Fair enough? Now, the same thing, let's look at for confirm password. Inspect. Hmm. What did I do? I'm sorry. I did something wrong. Right click, inspect, right click, copy outer HTML, and I'll put it here. See, there are many features that it gives us, like right click here, copy XPath itself. And if I paste it, it could be correct, it may not be correct, but I'm not sure about it, team. So I will write it my way, the way we learned. So how is it? HTML tag is input, open square brackets, @ID equals, let us say this confirm password. All right, and close the square bracket. Oops. Now this is what I got, and this is what Selenium IDE has shown me. So mine, does it work? It says could not find. If I take the one that XPath we got directly from inspecting the element and try that and say find. So there it goes, it works. So what we wrote does not work. What the system gave works. So who should we trust more? The system. But I want you to only depend on yourself and your ability to find out why this didn't work. So now help me fix this, team. What is the primary difference between these two HTML XPaths? Using star basically says will be fine for any element HTML tag. Okay, could be input, could be A, could be TR, could be span, could be CSS, anything. So star is basically saying replace with any. So using star here will go and look for every element and see if that ID for that each and every element is confirmed password. The way we are doing is we are only looking for input elements, and in those input elements, what have the ID confirm password. That is a primary difference. You will notice a lot of scripts being written this way, team. I would not recommend it unless you want to write it. It's just an easier way to do things, they feel. It is not necessarily the correct way. And what I'm okay, and team, one more thing. If you see this, there were double quotes here and it worked. Sometimes quotes, double quotes, they're small, subtle things, team. It may cause challenges. Double quotes is working, single quotes, double quotes is fine. You will see where we have to keep changing. Sometimes I have to give double quotes itself. What if my password itself is like this? I mean, goes, let's say, like this, and it's got quotes in between, or not password, anything else. Then how do we give that information? Now, what is wrong with the one we wrote? Then XPath, can someone help me figure this out? What is wrong with this? If that is there, I will replace this input to star. Then will it work? No, it still doesn't work. What is the reason? And the only reason is the smaller p that is necessary rather than the uppercase. That is the thing. It is highly case sensitive. It won't let you mess around on play. It expects absolute discipline and for you to give instructions correctly. It will not assume anything otherwise, or it will not just do anything randomly. Highly case sensitive, so please be careful when you're giving these details. Once you're able to identify, you can talk about the commands team. What is it that we can do? Now, I want you all to start practicing with the writing XPaths for various elements. The more you will see with, let's say there's a checkbox or a drop down, then what do I do? Okay, those certain aspects we'll be able to slowly bring in. Okay, now there's a question, how do you get outer HTML? I don't even know why you need outer HTML. First you show me how to do XPath, then we'll talk about outer HTML team. I see 90% of you will fail on this. Believe in me. 90% of you will gonna make mistakes on this team. No recording on. I'm recording the session team, right? The session, it is recording at my end. This Selenium recording is not on. Okay. What was I saying? Yes. Now the identification of XPath to begin with is as simple as this team. As we go along, you will understand how we can add more of them, or how I can combine them with, you know, something else at the end, or how I can use indexes by using other square brackets. These subtle variations will make it a little bit more interesting. How do we keep organizing and identifying elements? Most of them should work by themselves, but then you'll keep finding applications where it will become an issue, especially where you see a lot of data. I'll show you, team. It's very simple to show you there. Now what we will do, team, I want you all to take up an exercise of writing all of this on AnyAUT itself. So how do we basically do this, go about doing it, team? The step one that you do, I'm assuming that you've all signed up. So you log into your dashboard. And what you will notice is things on the left side, which is your main menu, team. Your dashboard will be empty, and only thing is built-in keywords that come built in with every AnyAUT installation. What we will start with is called test plan, team. Okay. There are two main things to test plan. The first is the test setup and the reusable components. Export test setup is a feature that helps us to take everything that we do into an Excel. Almost you'll see that being there towards every section of this application. So what is it that AnyAUT does primarily? What AnyAUT tries to do is the steps that we have incorporated in Selenium IDE or Catalan when you look at it, to be able to interact with the application and perform these tasks. The same steps as to what is it that we want to test on the application can be written on this platform called AnyAUT at a web front end. How do we go about doing it, team? In your test step, what we did is we divided every application into different segments. So let us say, let me use a regular pen. So let us say this is entire thing is my application. Okay, you divide them into different modules. Okay, and each module that represents a core piece of functional um, components can have different test cases or scenarios that we do. Okay, and when we execute them, each of them will have individual steps. So from a hierarchy basis, you have application that is built on many modules. Each module has many tests. Each test has multiple steps, steps that say what has to be done. That is typically how we are dividing teams. Some of the simplest way to divide any application and a test. What AnyAUT does is it lets you store it in that hierarchical order. So the first thing that we create is create an application under test, everyone. Simple, only 3 fields, there's nothing much. So I'm going to change this to demo. Oops, edit. So this basically is my application. Now to this application, what I have to do is I can create and add modules team. All right. Now there are good implementations that was done by some of the members. Anyone has a fresh installation where nothing is there, we can add a few modules and test cases and steps, please. Can we install Firepath plugin or web element locator where we get XPath values directly? Team, please don't find solutions to make your life easy. Believe on me on that. If you don't work hard towards XPath, you will get stuck. You will never go in beyond automation. If you want to do it, then that's fine. You can also do Selenium recording and you don't need WebDriver. If you get a chance, you can export the scripts. Let's do all easy ways only. Don't do the hard way at all, team. I'm being sarcastic. I'm sorry. You have to do it the way I show you. Why do you want solutions? In interviews, they'll not ask you to use, what is the logic first? Then you can use tools, please. And those tools are old. You don't need any of them. What I'm showing is all you'll need there, team. Okay. Now, some of you did activities on AnyAUT. I want to see if anyone can share a fresh installation. Even if you give me a username and password, I can log in and start showing you in that. And I know that yours will be empty, so I can show how we can build on it. And that is an activity you all have to do, team, now. Anyone, credentials? I'm going to sign out and pick up the first ones I get. I need a username and a password, team. And you can change your password after the session. That way I can log into your fresh installation and show you what you should do. So your understanding team, the whole objective is to try and identify how to automate these steps. Manually is fine. If I learn to automate few steps and replicate it into thousands, then it's possible. Okay, so I got one from Thampi Jiva. Pankaja, I got one more a little faster. I'll take this for now and sign in. All right, there you go. So this is how it will look, team, when you log in for the first time. And here is your exercise. Okay. Now in this exercise, I want you to go to test plan and start with reusable components. What are these reusable components? Reusable components are basically things that we can add to our repository to identify elements. So let us say I want to add a couple of pages, team. Where is my application at test first? Let me write that. So AUT, I don't think anything must be there here. I'll say this is demo ACT training. Okay. For Thampi, this is yours. Now we were doing it on our main application team. Should we continue to do it here or no is the question. Not dashboard index.php here. So let us say this is our home login page, correct team? And there are few elements here. The concept of this is very simple. Team, I don't want to write steps for AnyAUT to test AnyAUT only. Let us do it for something else. Let's go back to qaonair.com. There is a sign up there also. So let us say that we are doing it for qaonair.com. I'm going to take this here and put it here and just say freelance IT workforce. Submit. So my application is ready. No modules yet. In this application, I will go to the login page. So this becomes a page for me, team. In AnyAUT, now we go back to reusable components, go to element map. In element map, the way we'll structure, we'll add first the pages and then elements into the page. So it helps to organize things. So this is my login page. So I'll just say enter element page. Login page. More detailed description, login page with this. So I've added an element page and that would come here. Now to that element page, I could add specific elements team. What are the elements that I want to add here? Let us say I want to add username, password, and this button. Okay. So the way I will do it is, let's enter a name team to it. Let's give it a name. This is username. So I'll just say username. I'm using something called as a camel case. When we get into our coding and we will do variables, I will show what are these and how we name it. Very neatly we should do. Username, nothing for login. Now I need to say which methodology I want to use. Remember team, I was telling you that there are different ways to identify elements. The same thing out here. So I get to choose that methodology upfront. Now let's inspect this element, right click, inspect. And I have this code. So as a general habit, copy the outer HTML, take it into my notepad. And see, the type is text will be common for everything, but name being user underscore login is something we can use. So I could go back to my page and say, hey, I want to identify by name and the value is this. So team, what we were doing in a not a very sophisticated manner is getting more organized through this platform, how we enter data and information. Okay. Now what I did is I created one page and one element under it. Will this work or not? We don't know. What I do typically is I use Selenium IDE on the side to compare. But let me go ahead and write and show you how the execution will be done, team. Okay. Username is done. Now I want to add the next one, password. So right click, inspect. So name is user underscore password. So to the same page, I'll just write password for login. See, try and write them very precisely with correct information, team. It will help you as we go along. In this, again, I'm going to use name, or I can say XPath and write the XPath. What is the XPath? Input name equals user underscore pass. So as you get faster, this is how you will write at name equals single quotes user underscore pass. Seems to be all lowercase and end of square brackets. Seems to be correct. I add this element. The last one is this login, inspect. And I see this is button login. How do I do this, team? For this, I'll show you. This is the craziest thing I've ever seen. There'll be no thing here. Oh, so I've come to the same section here, team. Now it's trying to record. So if I click on login or do anything here, see, though it's automatically filled, it's kind of got all these details all the way. Now, how do we identify the specific button? Inspect, and I see button login. So all I will do here is say / button at open square brackets at the rate text. No, I don't think at the rate is quite text equals login. Oh, come on, don't do this to me. It is doing too much of, this is not type click. It's a find. I don't need anything for this. What? Find target in page, and there you go. So primarily, team, this is one thing that I'll expose to you tomorrow as to how you take a text within an element and put it there. This is one thing I'll go a little bit more deeper. But what we did is we got, where is our AnyAUT now? Did I log out? Come on. I was doing commands and I have to get it back again. What is wrong with this? So whatever we left, it should be still there. So if you see, we have one element right now, and I'll go back to the test plan, reusable component, element maps. My page is there. My two fields are added. The third one I need to add. So to the same page, I'll say this is login button and enter email and element best button. Element by, what did I do? XPath, is it? Yeah. And get this here and put that element and say add element. Now, three elements, team, that are added to this page. What I could do is go to tests now and create something for it. All right, just for these three elements. I have not yet created test data or UD case, team. I'm going to talk about them. We just have created element map. In my modules, I'll first add a new one. So I'll just say this M001. First module, user verification tests, and we add that module. Once we've added this module, team, I'll go to the test cases. I'll select the module that I added and say, you know what, I have my first test case, incorrect login. Add this test case. Now, what we've primarily done is creating a little bit more sophisticated way of maintaining this information in such a way that everything gets organized well for us to be able to test manually, or automation will look at it. So here now, for the first module, I have a test case one that I identified. My first step is to open browser. I need to first open a browser, right? So you will notice now that there's a user-defined keyword and built-in keyword. These three components become your building block for automation team. Okay. What is it that we want to do? That action or command is your built-in keyword. When I click on the built-in keyword, I can see a plethora of them, about 66 already predefined. These are simple instructions that we will do onto the application. So if I say open browser, then open a browser where I have to give details for this open browser as to what browser do I want to open, right? That becomes your test data. So I say one time and I'll just say Chrome for now. Add test step. The second one will be to go to login page. So how do we go there? I can say click link and I can provide the link to that text. So once I go to QA on air, to go to that login page, I just have to click this link. So I say right click here. For these, I have not yet added elements. I'm just showing one simple scenario. We'll go more and more advanced into this. You have to do all of this at your end team, write a few scenarios accordingly. So right click, inspect, login. It's a simple link called login. So I will just use that name here. Link text and the values login, all uppercases, add test step. Now comes my third step where I type username. So built-in keyword, I can start using a type word. It brings up what do I have with it. So I choose type text. And to type text, I need to say where I need to type. So now I have those elements reusable created. So I can select the username field from that. All right. And for data, I'll just give it dummy, blah, 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 and add this test step. So right now I just have 3 steps team to do all these 3 things. What basically happens is these steps are kind of noted in this Excel sheet, whatever we have given. When you open this Excel file, not this one, you will see the application and a test what we gave, the module that we entered, the test case details, what are the steps in it, the built-in keywords what we have, elements how they're identified, and the test data which is blank right now. This becomes your output team. The way the whole executions work is to come to test run setup, choose what I want to execute. If there's any test data, give it and say how to execute that. Then be able to follow these instructions and set up everything on the system. And then we get to uploading our results back. So one more session where I can walk through all of these teams. What I want you to do is I want you to create a few more tests here. Write a few more elements because elements was the little tougher thing. I want you to practice on this. How do we put nicely elements organized for an application? Home page, login page, sign up page, post login page. There's so many things that we could do. All right, team. And by the end of this exercise, you will be very proficient with element identification. Once you get through that, it'll become pretty much easy for us to focus on how are these frameworks made? How do we create them at a code level? Let us first learn to use them. So that's what it is primarily team for today. A little bit more, we went in deep on XPath and how to work with AnyAUT right now. Once we back on Monday, it'll continue team, same session, same timings. There are about almost 60, 70 of you who are continuing with the JPAC program. So it'll be the same schedule. And we will be doing little team activities also team. Any questions for me, please? there were few things. Pavan, are you there? Sorry, I don't think Pavan is available, but um, regarding access or anything, team, just wait for an email that is coming out from our end today. It'll have all the information that will help you with next steps. Okay. Team, this account is only for one application at a time, unfortunately, and that is the limitations of Orange. Peach has some features which is much more advanced, where I can log in as a group of team members, not just one. So we can all do work on multiple applications, multiple modules at the same time. All right, everyone. I'll wish you a great weekend and I'll see you back on Monday. Please do practice on this and look forward for an email with instructions. Same link, same timing. We will continue with these sessions a few more days. So it's almost merging off into our Selenium training now. All right. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you back on Monday then. Take care. Bye, all. Bye.